Morning. It was raining earlier. I didn't know if I was going to get out for my walk in the woods, but looks like it stopped now, and the only thing bothering me now are these little deer flies. My gosh, these guys are irritating. Anyway, so just as I was walking out of the house this morning, I read a piece of national news. It was a white reporter was stopping people on the street and asking them if they were racist, and you can imagine what the answers were. Boy, for we white people, we don't want to be called racist, that's for sure. And people would attest to being colorblind and all kinds of things. But the fact is, you can't grow up in America unless you've been really infused into your bones this idea of racial separation. And that's why training on unconscious bias is so important, because we white people don't realize that. So we're a product of a system. And the system in America, all over, is, I know you're not going to like to hear this, is racist. Historically, we've done just about everything to make sure that black people stay under our boot, that don't have quite the same opportunity as we, that just automatically assume because of our goodness, because we're white. Just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, we say, when we've not only got our boots on, but we're on the horse. So I think this is a time for us to examine ourselves. We can make small changes, we white Americans. Years ago, and I remember, riding around, partners and police work, and my partner would tell a racist joke, somehow demeaning, black people, and I'd sit there to myself and I wouldn't say anything. Well, no more. There's my sister-in-law who taught teenagers for 30-some years. The students would run up, "Oh, Mrs. Nelson, no, I have a joke." She said, "Well, I'm happy to listen to it as long as it's neither racist, sexist, or homophobic. Now, do you have a joke?" And oftentimes, because she grew up in, or taught in, southern Missouri, they didn't have a joke. If you're going to limit that, that's not a joke anymore. So when we white people hear racial jokes or comments disparaging people of color, can't be silent anymore. No, can't. What you've got to be able to do is say, "Hey, I find that extremely offensive, and I prefer you not tell those jokes in my company again." And then are you willing to do that to family members and friends who might be over gathering at your house, and somebody says something? Are you willing to stand up and say, "If you continue in that vein, I'm sorry, but you're not welcome at my house anymore"? Are you willing to do that? But somehow, we white people, and I think I've talked about this before on one of my morning walks, is that we've got to become allies. We've got to have our antennas up really high for things that we know that are wrong, that are offensive to people of color, things that work against them. And I'm sorry, but there's a question that I hear and have heard since 2014, and that is a very plaintive cry saying, "When are you going to stop killing us?" And until that gets answered, I don't think we're going to have the kind of peace that we want to have in this country. Now, whether this current incident and many since already have unrolled since George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis, kind of rolling out. So are we willing to hold our systems accountable, our criminal justice systems that seem to invariably work against people of color, in check? And can we answer that question, when are you going to stop killing us? And that has to do with our justice system, institution of capital punishment, and how our police behave and how they're trained and how they're selected. So, when are you going to stop killing us? Let's make it right now. Let's stop right now. And may God give us the strength to do that. Have a great day.